Hello and welcome to Mad About Sports with yet another video. And today we are going to be talking about Mahendra Singh Dhoni. Are words enough to describe the man and the aura he brings into a cricket field? Definitely not, as he would say, and the world will say, because he's been a phenomenal player across in the world cricket and in IPL especially. He's been a gigantic figure, isn't it? Now, at the age of 41, he still got it. What makes Dhoni stand apart from almost every other player in IPL? Is it just his fitness? Is it his tactical nuances? Or is it his finishing ability? Because now you're talking about when you talk about the best finishers across the game of cricket or in the T20 format, Dhoni is right up there. And in IPL especially, you have to say there is Dhoni and then there is the rest. Now that is the figure of Dhoni in IPL or in cricket. But let's talk about what makes Dhoni stand apart, right? Because even at the age of 41, in the opening game against Gujarat Titans, he walked in and scored at the striker of 200 and again finishing it off for Chennai Super Kings. They only got to face 7 balls, but those 7 balls were impactful enough because Chennai were in a spot of bother when he walked into bat, but that presence he brings into the final over. As Ian Bishop once said, when Dhoni is batting, it is the bowlers who are under pressure more than batter because Dhoni really has that presence on the crease, isn't it? And that's something which you saw. Joshua Little was under pressure the moment he saw Dhoni. The aura of Dhoni on the crease, that's what makes him stand apart. And the coolness and calmness, as we always resonate with Dhoni, has been one particular thing which has always stood out throughout his career. Even at the age of 41, as he walked into the bat, you saw the cheers go on. You saw everybody react to Dhoni. But more than that, the mind of Dhoni controlling those last overs. Now let's look at some of the stats because that's very important to look at how many runs. Now after yesterday's innings, he has scored close to 669 runs. That is the end and the striker of 245 as it stands after yesterday because the stat is right before yesterday's innings which he played against Gujarat Titans. So 669 runs and the second best is almost 600 264 runs away. So that's a star contrast. And look at the strike rate he's batted at. 245 is his strike rate after yesterday's knock as well. Now, that in itself talks about the presence he scores. That is a lot of runs in the 20th over by a player. 669 runs in the 20th over alone. Now, that's amount of runs some people score in their entirety of career in IPL. But here is a man who has done that just in that one particular over. And that is a crazy stat to have, especially if you are a Chennai fan or if you're just a cricket fan in general. And look at this. Now, this is another crazy stat as well. Now talking about which, Dhoni, now if you talk about his career throughout, in IPL history, from overs number 15 to 20, has scored most number of runs. Now, that in itself says the presence of a finisher. How important it is to have someone like a Dhoni in that middle order and finishing it off for Chennai more often than not. People might have written him off saying that, okay, Dhoni is done. He's 41-year-old. He's just playing as a captain. Is he? That's the question. A player who's scoring at the striker of 200, is he just playing as a captain? Definitely not. He's definitely there as a finisher. Now with T20 game evolving even more, as you have specified roles. Last season, you saw someone like a Dinesh Karthik, who's also a feature in this list, coming to bat for RCB in the 16th over and establishing himself as a finisher. Now, that's something very similar which Dhoni would want to incorporate into the Chennai Super Kings. Maybe Dhoni is not keen enough to bat from over number 10, 12 onwards. He would want to come into a situation where CSK is 14 overs passed or 15 overs passed, and he would want to have a designated role. Now, you saw a couple of pictures which also come on the internet. Dhoni has become more bulked up. Dhoni has also gained more muscle mass. That means he would want to use his power game even more at this point of stage in his career. And that's going to be very interesting for a lot of reasons. Number one, if Chennai can use him to come in at number 7 or even number 8 attempt, now with the impact substitute rule, you're looking for a elongated batting order. And the first game against Gujarat Titans, Chennai had 11 batting options. Remember, Rajwardhan Hungarekar, who had a terrific game with the ball, is also a very good batter. He can hit the long ball every now and then. He could possibly be starting for any other team in IPL at number 8, number 7. But here he was number 11 designated batter. So Chennai Super Kings has got such a big batting order. That's number one. Number two, Can Dhoni be batting at number four, number six, number four, number six? I mean, number six or number seven? Yes, possibly he can be coming in at number six or number seven, depending on where the situation of game stands. At this point in the stage, if Dhoni identifies himself as a designated player to come in the last 4 overs, he definitely can create an impact more than any other player on the team. It's just the experience he brings. And of course, when you talk about running between the wickets, there is no other player to beat Dhoni, even at this age. At the age of 41, he possibly runs faster than a lot of these 25-year-olds these days. And that is something which you cannot buy. The experience, the running between the wickets, and the mind and the presence. Now, I'll bring you some interesting stats from yesterday's game. Now let's look at the strike rate, right? It's a very important stat primarily because Dhoni's strike rate and Shivam Dube's strike rate are two things which you need to understand. Now, if you have to talk in the larger context of things, Shivam Dube played a negative impact. Now, on the contrary, you can say the negative impact innings is something where you play, where you consume a lot of balls, where you might have scored a certain amount of runs, but it is not working in the favor of your team. Yes, the in T20 cricket as it has evolved, it is about the amount of time you spend. The more time you spend in T20 cricket without creating an impact is certainly causing a negative impact for your team. But in the Star contest, Dhoni came into bat at number 8, and he had a better impact than someone like Shivam Dube. And that's the best part about it. Now, when you have Dhoni batting at strike rate of 200, Dube only faced 7 balls, strike rate of 200. If he can maintain that, if he can strike at 150 to 180 throughout the season, he can walk in at number 7. And Jadeja to be getting that extra bit of promotion in the batting order. That's something CSK should look to do. Jadeja batting in Shivam Dube's position and Dhoni batting in Jadeja's position, because in the larger scheme of things, you wouldn't really need someone like a Shivam Dube in the Chennai Super Kings team, because you have a big batting order, that is for sure. But do you need someone like a Shivam Dube? Maybe on occasions where you're possibly fearing a collapse, yes, you might want to have that extra bit of batting option, but that can be done through a substitution. Maybe to start off with, you can go in with a Jadeja and a Dhoni, because should be batting at number 5 for Chennai Super Kings, because he bats number 6 for Team India and some of the T20 games as well. So if a player is batting number 7, number 6 for Team India, should be batting number 5 for Chennai Super Kings, and that's an experience at which Jadeja has always carried. And Dhoni batting at number 6 will only help him to also get set a little bit, and also on occasion, that is 15 overs, 16 overs, he can come in and show that plethora, artillery of shots which he's got as well. Now remember, for Chennai Super Kings, there was also another interesting stat. Let's look at the percentage of balls consumed, because this is a very important stat. As I did mention about Shivam Dube, you understand the number of percentage of balls he faced was 15, and the runs he scored is 11. Now, this is a negative impact I'm talking about. Now, if you look on the other side of things, Dhoni faced 6% of the ball and he scored 8% of the runs. Now, this is the negative impact exactly I'm talking about. It is about less percent of the balls and higher percentage of runs. Now, that is what's going to create that positive impact here. Every player was consumed less percentage of the ball, more percent of the balls and less percent of runs scored, as contributed a negative impact, at least on a minimum of 10 balls played. Let's put that as the primary stat or primary data point to analyze the negative impact or not. If you talk about Jadeja and Ben Stokes, you can say they face minimum balls less than 10, so their negative impact cannot be ascertained in a way which Shivam Dube had. And maybe even to an extent even Rayudu had, because Rayudu's innings also wasn't a moving factor in that Chennai Super Kings order. So this is where Chennai Super Kings have to be very careful going ahead into the season. Rayudu and Shivam Dube's position, because they both have to be up there, because Rayudu hasn't played a lot of cricket. Even if he has played, the number of impact he's added in the domestic season in the last season hasn't been great as the previous seasons. That's also primarily because Rayudu is now coming to the tail end of his career, and you need to understand that. But on the other end of things, Shivam Dube is definitely a great player playing in conditions which comes where the ball comes onto the bat beautifully. But now remember, Chennai will be playing in Chepauk. Chennai will be playing most of the games in Chepauk, and to add to that, Chennai will also be traveling to conditions where the ball might not be coming onto the bat as great as it might do in conditions like Mumbai. Last season, he had a very good season because he's born and bred in Mumbai, and he prefers the ball coming onto the bat a lot more. His back foot game is excellent, Shivam Dube's, and he's got a great range as well. But does he have a lot of foot movement? Does he play spin extraordinarily well? No, these are questions which are really, really prominent on Chennai Super Kings, and that's where someone like Dhoni might want to be using that position of Jadeja and Jadeja moving up the batting order, because Chennai Super Kings have got enough batting till number 10, number 11, and it's going to be very interesting to see how Chennai Super Kings operates going ahead in the tournament as well. Now, That's about it from us. If you did enjoy the video, do not forget to like and subscribe to our channel, and also remember to share this video with your friends and family so we can keep bringing you those interesting data points and content to all of you. And do let us know in the comments if you still think Dhoni is the best finisher in the game at this point.